Morlins, and welcome back to the second half of the Dragonsitter, and I'm sure we will find out whether Uncle Morton, replies to Eddie or not. So it starts off with another email from Edward. From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Thursday the 4th of August. Subject, please read this. Attachment, postie, fireman. Dear Uncle Morton, I don't even know why I'm writing to you. You haven't answered any of my other emails. Maybe I've even got the wrong address, just like Mum's got the wrong hotel. But I've got to tell someone what's happening, and I can't think of anyone else to tell. Today was the worst day so far. Your dragon set fire to the postman. To be fair to the dragon, I don't think he meant to. I think he must have been frightened by the letters coming through the letterbox. He breathed fire all over them. The flames went through the letterbox and out the other side, setting the postman's sleeve alight. Luckily, the postman wasn't hurt. Mum put the flames out with a blanket. But he's going to need a new uniform, and he said he'll charge us for it. We had a lot of explaining to do. There's a big fire engine parked outside the house and 4 firemen in our front garden wanting to check our smoke alarms. Mum told them about the dragon. She invited them in to see him. The firemen looked at one another in a funny way and backed down the garden path. When they'd gone, the postman said he'd sue us. He said he'd report us to the police. He said we could expect never to get another letter in our lives. He said a lot more things which I didn't actually hear because Mum put her hands over my ears. Now Mum's upstairs in bed. She said she'll come downstairs to make supper, but I don't know if she really will. The dragon is lying on the sofa. I told him he should be ashamed of himself. He doesn't look ashamed at all. He won't get off the sofa either, not even when I shout at him. He knows quite well he's not allowed on there. Eddie. From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Thursday the 4th of August. Subject, postcard. Attachment, the stamp. There's the stamp there, or part of the stamp. Dear Uncle M, I've just been through the remains of our letters and found a postcard with a foreign stamp. Unfortunately, there was nothing else left, just the corner with the stamp on. But I think the picture might have been of a beach. Did you send it to us? If you did, that's very nice of you, but it would have been even nicer if you would answer my emails. E. Next email, from Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Friday the 5th of August. Subject, our tummies are empty. Attachment, the dragon in the kitchen. Dear Uncle Morton, I am quite a long way past the end of my tether. Yesterday I didn't think things would get any worse, but they just have. Mum is upstairs again. She says she's not getting up till the dragon's gone. I said that might not be for 3 more days, and she said that I'm going to be spending a lot more time in bed. You'd better find me some good books. Emily and I haven't had any breakfast, and it looks like we're not getting any lunch either. Your dragon is in the kitchen. The door's shut. He won't let me in. I just tried, but he breathed a little trickle of flame in my direction. From the expression in his eyes, I could see it was a warning. I'm not a coward, Uncle M, but I'm not stupid either. I ran straight out and slammed the door behind me. I waited for a few minutes, then I peered through the keyhole and saw what he had done. He's been through the cupboard, smashing down the doors and tearing out all the food. He's ripped open the packets. He's chewed through the tins. There's rice and lentils and spaghetti hoops all over the kitchen floor. Uncle M, what am I supposed to do? Edward. From Morton Pickle to Edward Smith Pickle. Date Friday the 5th of August. Subject, chocolate. And all the email says is, have you tried chocolate? From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Friday the 5th of August. Subject, chocolate. Which means it's a reply to that email. What do you mean if I tried chocolate? Of course I have, I love chocolate. I don't want to be rude, Uncle Morton, but I'm beginning to worry Mum might be right about you. I've been sending you emails for almost a whole week now, and I've been begging you to answer, and when you finally do, you've asked if I've ever tried chocolate. Maybe you have really banged your head. Have you? If you haven't, then why haven't you answered any of my other emails? Where have you been? And when are you going to come and collect your dragon? Edward. From Morton Pickle to Edward Smith Pickle. Date Friday the 5th of August. Subject, chocolate. So he's replied again. I mean, have you tried giving the dragon chocolate? That's all it says. From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Friday the 5th of August. Subject, chocolate. Attachment, the chocoholic. And all it says is, it works! From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Saturday the 6th of August. Subject, chocolate. Attachments, our very own flamethrower. Dear Uncle Morton, I'm sorry I haven't replied more quickly to tell you what's happened, but I've been too busy feeding the dragon all the chocolate in the house and then going to the shop to get some more. The dragon is a changed beast. Mum says he's been behaving like a little angel, and he has. He stopped stealing food, he poos on the grass, he doesn't even sit on the sofa anymore. Actually, that's not quite true, but he gets off as soon as he's told to. Tonight we had a barbecue in the garden. Your dragon lit it. Then he ate 6 sausages, 3 chops and 9 baked bananas. Luckily Mum had just been to the supermarket, so there was enough for us too. Now your dragon is lying on the floor, looking at me with his big eyes. I know I shouldn't give him any more chocolate. I don't want to get him fat. But I'm just going to give him one more piece and then it's time for bed. Eddie. From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Saturday the 6th of August. Chocolate. Attachment, story time and Emily's new best friend. Dear Uncle Morton, I thought you might like to know your dragon has now eaten 12 bars of milk chocolate, 14 bars of plain chocolate, 6 Twixes, 1 Crunchy, and 23 bags of Maltesers. The man in the shop is starting to look at me in a funny way. I thought Mum would mind buying so much, but she said, if he's happy, I'm happy. And he is. Very. Even Emily has forgiven him. She seems to have forgotten all about Jemima. I think she'd like to have your dragon as a pet instead. She started calling him Cupcake. I've told her several times that Cupcake isn't a suitable name for a dragon, but she takes no notice. Okay, there's Emily drawing a picture of her dragon. Does he actually have a name? If he doesn't, I would suggest Desolation or Fire Breath or something like that. Not Cupcake. I hope you're enjoying the last few hours of your holiday and managing to get a last swim in some sunshine. It's raining here. See you tomorrow. Don't miss your flight. Love from Eddie. How many more have we got? 1, 2. 2 more emails. From Morton Pickle. He's replied again. To Edward Smith Pickle. Date Saturday the 6th of August. Subject, chocolate. Attachments, my island. Hi Eddie. Very glad to hear that my tip about chocolate did the trick. It always does with dragons, even the biggest of them. I remember hiking through the mountains of Outer Mongolia with a rucksack almost entirely stuffed with Cadbury's fruit and nut. Without it, I wouldn't be here today. I fed the whole lot to the biggest dragon I've ever seen in my life. A bad-tempered chap, with teeth as big as my hands and terrible breath. I'll tell you the whole story when I see you, but I don't have time now. I've got to be quick. I'm at the airport and my flight leaves any minute. But I wanted to write to you and say, I'm so very sorry for not reading your messages earlier in the week. I could have checked my mail at the hotel, but I had resolved not to interrupt my holiday. That was stupid of me, I know, and I'm exceedingly apologetic. I only looked yesterday because I had heard a rumour from a fellow guest that there had been terrible floods in Lower Biscuit, the town opposite my island. I have several good friends living there, so I wanted to check they were safe. You'll be glad to know the floods were actually in Upper Bucket, which is quite different. I'm very sorry too that my naughty little dragon had been behaving himself so badly. Were my instructions no use at all? I was quite sure I'd included the tip about chocolate. Will you please apologise to your mother about the mix-up of hotels? I had been planning to stay in the Hotel Splendide, which is why your mother had their address and phone number. On arrival though, I discovered that their chef, the famous Alphonse Mulberry, had quarrelled with the owner and moved to an establishment in the next town along on the coast. So I moved there too. Oh, I'm glad I did. His cooking is even more spectacular than I had remembered. For some reason I don't appear to have your mother's email address, which is why I'm sending you this. Please apologise to her on my behalf. I've bought her an enormous chunk of Roquefort as a present. I know how much she likes cheese. They're calling my flight. I'd better go and join the scrum. I'll see you very soon. Lots of love from your affectionate and apologetic uncle, Morton. From Edward Smith Pickle to Morton Pickle. Date Monday the 8th of August. So that's 2 days later. Subject au revoir. Attachments Mum and her gun. Dear Uncle Morton, I hope you had a good journey home. Did the dragon behave himself on the train? Mum put up the new curtains and she's ordered another fridge from the shop. She says she's never liked petunias and she's decided to plant roses instead. She's going to spend the rest of your money on a new carpet for all our bedrooms. She loves the cheese, by the way. I don't, it smells awful. Sorry for saying so, but it does. Emily says thank you for the monkey. She says he's almost as good as Jemima. I think he's even better. At least he doesn't need feeding, and he can sleep in her bed instead of that cage at the end of the garden. And thanks very much for the books. They'll be really useful if I ever learn French. You know your list of instructions? Well, Mum finally found them down the back of the sofa. We've read them now. You did say the thing about chocolate, and lots of other useful stuff too. If only we'd found them before. Mum says she thinks you just put them there when you came to collect the dragon, but I told her not to be silly. Mrs. Kapowski's cat has started coming into the garden again. Mum chased him out with a hose. She said, I wish that dragon was still here. Then she looked at me very quickly and said, I don't really. I think she does. I do too. And there's Emily with her little monkey. He made everything very difficult, but he was fun too. I hope you're having a lovely time back home on your island. By the way, when I said I'd like to come and visit, I really did mean it. Will you send an official invitation to Mum? Otherwise she's never going to let me. Emily would like to come too, but I told her she's too young. She is, isn't she? She might fall off a cliff or something. Lots of love. Your favourite nephew, Eddie. P.S. Please give Ziggy a Malteser for me. So the dragon must have been called Ziggy. And there is Uncle Morton finally replying to some of his emails. So I really hope you enjoyed that story. If you did like it, there are some other Dragonsitter books. A couple of them in the back of this book are The Dragonsitter Takes Off, The Dragonsitter's Castle, and The Dragonsitter's Island. And they're all written in the same sort of way using emails, which I really enjoyed. So I will see you very soon for another Moorland story time.